what is free speech and what is not. We here in America have something called the Constitution. And within the Constitution are several amendments that are called the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights, which not only protects our citizens, but protects us from our government. And the first amongst those is freedom of speech. You have the right to say what you want without being persecuted by your government. That is the key aspect of that. You are not going to be persecuted by your government for free speech. Private industry, private enterprise, you have no free speech when you sign a contract, when you are representing somebody else who pays you money to behave in a certain manner. That is the difference. So, when last night we all learned that one, Jimmy Kimmel has indefinitely been retired from his late night show on ABC, those of us who understand how free speech works, we simply said, you get what you effing deserve. While those of the commie Marxist persuasion screaming, free speech is dead! The fascists are coming! Let's be clear. Jimmy Kimmel, here's what happened. Let's set the stage. Here is what happened. Jimmy Kimmel went out on his show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, a couple days ago, and spouted lies and propaganda about Charlie Kirk and the circumstances and those involved in his murder assassination. Spouted lies on top of saying horrible things. When he is on television, where he is at an event, he is an employee of ABC, which is a subsidiary of Disney. He represents them on this moment in that time. Well, here's how television works, folks. When you are Disney and you own ABC, you are a network television. You make a lot of money when you farm out and license your programming, syndication is the word, to other networks and companies. Well, two very large companies who partake in network television, Nexstar and Sinclair, realized, oh my God, what he said is causing people to turn off our networks that we own. And therefore, we are getting no revenue because Jimmy Kimmel, as an employee of ABC and Disney, said propagandist, liable remarks. And people were responding with their wallets. So what did Nexstar and Sinclair do yesterday? They went to ABC and said, listen, you either do something about this, you get him to apologize, or we are going to opt out of our deals. We are going to cancel our deals because syndication is a lot of money. That's in the olden days. That is what you aimed for. You aimed for syndication because that's when the big mucho money rolled in. So ABC, Disney, which despite everything are still companies that need to make money to survive. And when your biggest syndication partners say, we are going to pull our deals, what do you think they did? Well, first they went to Jimmy and said, Jimmy, will you apologize on air? And reports tell us that Jimmy said, no, fascism. That is reportedly what happened. Jimmy said no. So ABC said, boop, we pull you off the air indefinitely. He is not fired, but he is fired indefinitely. That's the industry speak for you're not getting back on the air. So that's what happened. Jimmy Kimmel Live pulled off the air Congratulations for doing the normal thing and responding to a hateful act and a libel act. So, what do you think happens? The internet explodes.
Cry havoc, and let's slip the dogs of war.
And there were one of two responses. It's one or the other online. One, if you are on, let's just say, right of center, you go, you get what you effing deserve. Consequences. And we'll get to that in a second. If you're on, well, let's just say if you're a commie leftist Marxist, you go, free speech has destroyed, our democracy is in ruin. It's over. Well, first of all, we're not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. Secondly, though, so here it is. Here it comes down to where the fallout has been insane. And now let's talk about, what does this mean? Is this cancel culture? No. What we have here now is called consequence culture. This is what happens when you do something that you're not allowed to under your contract. Because here's the difference. We've been talking about here and there. Free speech. If Jimmy Kimmel had been on the street, if he had been an event that he is hosting that has nothing to do with ABC and Disney, has nothing to do with his show, if he was acting in the efforts as a private citizen, and he says, these are my thoughts, these are my thoughts and my thoughts, so they do not represent the company that I am employed with, and he says these things, that is free speech. When you say it, when you are saying it, when you're working on your company's dime, that is not free speech, because I guarantee somewhere in his massive contract with ABC and Disney, there is a clause that will say you cannot say this stuff. There's a clause in everybody's contract. Problem is, nobody has enforced those clauses because we've lived in an era of cancellation. There's the difference. When people are getting canceled, it's for things that were either harmless or were said separately from the company they're working for, and many times did not reflect, they were not on the job, not currently being paid, or not on the road doing publicity for said project by said company. Rachel Zegler, we're looking at you. Rachel Pascal, we're also looking at you. Jimmy Kimmel was working for Disney in this moment, ABC, when he said these things. That is why it is not free speech. And also, he's not being attacked by the government. There's a line of thought going out there that the FCC is targeting Jimmy Kimmel. That story first happened yesterday, where it revealed that they are looking into it. Bureaucracy does not move that fast, folks. No one went to Disney and ABC and said, you got to fire him or we're going to level charges against your company. We're going to sanction you and fine you. That didn't happen yesterday. That is commie leftist lunacy going on right there. So all this breaks down, and here we are. That is the difference. Free speech is when you're an individual expressing your thoughts, separate and not currently working for your company, being paid on screen live. That is free speech. When you're on your company dime, when you're representing them on a stage, during publicity, during marketing, you do not have free speech. The private sector does not have free speech. It is not the government. They can choose to fire you, dismiss you, let you go whenever you want if you break the terms of your contract and lose them money. It's that simple. So everybody crying, this is an attack on free speech, you're full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about. But it hasn't stopped anything. So right here, we go move on with this. You've got SAG-AFTRA publicly condemning democracy thrives with diverse points of view are expressed. The decision to suspend Jimmy Kimmel Live is a type of suppression and retaliation that endangers everyone's freedoms. His free speech is not impeded. He could come out right now, record a video, and say all these things he wants. He just cannot do it while he's being paid by ABC and Disney live. That he could say whatever he wants. He could drop a statement, a video right here on X or on YouTube on his channel that nobody watches. And he could say everything he wants. But the consequences are people have a right to express. This is the irony. Everybody else can reply to him with their free speech. I can say what I want about him with my free speech as long as I'm not being libelous and slanderous. As long as I'm saying things that aren't true, because that's my freedom of speech, because I don't represent anybody but myself. So I can say my free speech right now that Jimmy Kimmel is an asshole and he's getting what he deserves. But if I was working for another company, if I had a parent company who funded this program right now, this stream, I would have to be careful, because there was probably something in the contract that says I cannot say things like this. I cannot do this, that. I have to censor myself due to the terms of the deal. But I don't have to do that. I have free speech. Jimmy Kimmel, when he's working for a private company, does not have free speech. That is the bullshit of this. There is no democracy threatened of diverse points. Jimmy Kimmel, in this very moment, could get on camera on YouTube on his own channel that is not supported by Disney, or on X on his own account, which is not supported or paid for by Disney, and say whatever he wants. He can say whatever he wants. And then the consequences of his speech by the private sector, by the paying customers, by society, he must suffer those consequences. And that's why it's not cancellation. He's simply suffering consequences. Nobody was, well, all right, Trump said fire him, but that's Trump being Trump. But nobody was going, oh my God, he has to be fired. We were just saying, listen, I'm not going to watch. I'm not going to watch your show. And then Sinclair and Nexstar said, oh, we just lost money. Oh, we're done. We're done. It's over. So, and then here's the fallout now. So remember when Gina got canceled for saying something, for just reposting a meme. She was currently not an employee for Disney. She had already completed her contract at the moment for Mandalorian and Grogu. She was not being employed by Disney. She was not in any way, shape, or form on a Disney platform saying or doing anything, but she posted her meme and got fired. Yeah, she was in negotiations for something, but she was not under contract anymore. Also, she didn't do it during a marketing or publicity spree. She got canceled, and they cheered. Yay, yay! No, that was wrong. That's the difference. But now, lots of people were done with Disney after Gina got canceled, and they all called us racists and bigots and this and that. We're incels, all that kind of stuff. Now, of course, they all want to cancel Disney Plus. They all want to cancel Disney Plus. Oh, just cancel my Disney Plus account because you canceled Jimmy Kimmel's show. Now, they are within their right to do this, but they're all hypocrites. Hypocrite. Trump told Disney to cancel Jimmy Kimmel. No, Trump made a Trump statement. Trump didn't do anything. He made a statement. Jimmy Kimmel's not funny and he's next. Because Trump understood consequences were coming from the populace. So Disney bent the knee and canceled him. No. Disney bent the knee to other companies, Nexstar and Sinclair, who pay them money. Maybe it's time for Democrats and liberals to cancel Disney. Our annual trip to Disney Orlando won't happen. Good. Your terms are acceptable. Disney Channel was canceled yesterday. You still had terrestrial television. You're a moron anyway. Disney, I'm the only one. There are millions more like me. Get this trending. Actually, there aren't millions like you. You assholes don't move the needle. That's why all the Disney Plus shows, that's why they don't move. That's why they get no ratings, because you don't exist. And then there's this guy on top of it. United States is no longer a democracy. No, it's a constitutional republic. We were never a democracy. But here it is, plain and simple. Hypocrisy on display. They're crying free speech. We've already defined what free speech is. When you're working for the private sector, you don't have it, and they have every right to cancel it, but they're hypocrites, and they're stupid. And this is turnaround as fair. This is Disney. This is the modern audience you wanted. These are the people you threw all of us out for. Consequences of your actions. That's it. It's that simple. And I'm here for it. We're going to watch this all play out. We're going to enjoy every second of this. And Jimmy Kimmel got what he deserved. He's not funny. He's a hypocrite. He's a piece of shit. Disney's going to get what they deserved because this is the audience they wanted. They decided to embrace cancel culture, and now they're going to suffer consequence culture. The era of consequence culture begins, and I'm glad I have a front seat for it. Okay, we're done. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, check out my gaming channel at Renaissance Nerd Arcade, and follow me on X Twitter under @TheRedNerd. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.